I was asked what piece of advice would you give to a new or expecting father? And my number one thing I tell for any father, new or not new, is
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Let's Add Value podcast. I'm Ron and I have my other co-host, Marcus. This is a podcast where real voices meet real stories that meet real value.
Hey, today we have a real game changer. We have Dr. Brother, whatever you want to call him, right? Dr. Duane Jones. He's a father, he's a mentor, a mental health advocate, a leader in the Stigma Father Committee. He's a published author, a celebrity photographer. He started his own Black-owned water company, started a Black-owned Greek magazine. He's a brand ambassador, and most important, he's a community activist. So today, you guys, we're going to talk about what it means to be a father, how brotherhood can save lives, and why social action starts at home. So this right here will be something, please share it with anybody in your community, especially Black men, as well as the ladies. You guys got to hear this. This is something special. And so before we jump into what we're going to jump into, so Antoine, if I give you a bowl of grits,
great.
what are you putting on it?
I'm putting some pepper, some salt, and some butter. That's it. You know what I'm saying? That's all you need, bro. That's all you need.
What about sugar?
You said grits, not cream of wheat. So we gonna have, so I'm gonna put in salt, pepper, butter, and we're gonna go with the flavor it's supposed to be and not the flavor you're trying to change it into. You know what I'm saying, bro?
Man, you got to
Hey,
add some ketchup.
hey, that's what about this. No ketchup?
Man, now if you said some shrimp, okay, put some shrimp in there, you know what I'm saying? But
Shrimp.
it ain't nothing, it ain't not sweet going in there, yo. It's not a sweet dish, yo.
Gotcha. Hey, well, thank you for coming along, man, and being a part of this podcast, man. We're really excited about you being here. When we started about the podcast and let's add value, your name was one of those names that showed up, right? And so, thank you for taking the opportunity and time to be here. And so, one of our biggest questions, we're just going to start off because we're going to dive right into it, right? Why does fatherhood matter? Why do fathers matter?
Wow. So yeah, so first I appreciate y'all for allowing me to be here. I mean, it is an honor, to be on any platform and pretend like I know what I'm talking about, to the brothers. But I mean, fatherhood and motherhood were meant to be equals. So if motherhood is important, then fatherhood has to be equally important because it took two people to create another individual. So it has to be a yin and a yang to even things out. So I mean, especially when you talk about raising young Black men or brown men, or I mean just men period, I mean, it would be great and highly beneficial to have a father on the board. And again, I raised a daughter, solo dolo too. So the father influence on a young lady so that she knows how to be treated by a dude, because typically she meets somebody in her future that kind of reminds her of her dad. So if you treat your daughter the right way, then perfectly, so she'll meet a dude that treat her, as well as you did. So that's my prayer. I've been fortunate so far, to experience that myself.
Okay. That's good, man. So you had the experience of raising a male and a female.
So yeah, so last 10 years I've been, really technically raising my daughter solo dolo, and then obviously I had two sons with my ex-wife, and we co-parent pretty solid. That's something that was always growing and working. But the kids are amazing, and the experiences, it's definitely a different experience of all kids, but that male female dynamic is totally different. Like it was a challenge, to raise a woman by myself.
Man, good brother. My question, those girls do something to you, man. It's just different, man. Let's talk about that, man, a little bit, man, because I saw a clip the other day on social media where the little babies, man, I have three girls, one son, but man, my daughters used to run to you when you get home, man. And I don't think you could ever, that feeling, man, I don't, know that if that's ever a feeling that feels so good, just knowing that your children just run to you. Talk about that, man.
I mean, just parenthood, man, in general, man, fatherhood, it's it's something you can't even explain at times. And granted, my kids are starting to get a little older, so now you want to kind of karate chop them every once in a while. But there really are some good kids, and it's a blessing to know that. I take joy out of still being a cool parent. And I'm not saying cool like I'm their friend, but I'm saying cool like my kids never was like, oh my God, Dad, you're so embarrassing. Like I haven't got to that stage yet. And all my kids are almost grown. So I'm feeling like I'm going to make it through that gauntlet without being the corny parent or the parent you don't want to talk to. Like, get out of my room, Dad. Like I haven't experienced that. So just trying to be relatable to the kids, but understanding that you are the parent and there's a balance there because you want your kids to be able to talk to you at any age. You want them to run up to you. Like my youngest, the 15-year-old, he gonna be the first one to give up a hug, man. And it's cool knowing that your kids feel open enough to at least tell you the important stuff, and then tell you the cool stuff.
I like the fact that you brought up being a cool parent, right? Because in my experience, man, my dad was so wild when his name popped up or he came up, man, I was ducking off the rip, right? I was running because he was so embarrassing, man. Cool as all outdoors, give you the shirt off his back, all that other stuff. But he was he was ready to embarrass you in a minute, man. And he had those old dad jokes that, people be like, we just laugh at just because we don't want you to stay here any longer, right? So I commend you on that. So definitely talking about, dads and being, a father and being present and whatnot. What do you think of some of the struggles that Black fathers face today?
Well, man, just Black men in general. So I had this conversation the other day. When you're in a relationship with a woman, it's just y'all two, then you number one. You get married, you number one. When you have a kid, you automatically go to last. Like you go from first to third or fourth or fifth or sixth real quick. Like it's like you was number one, and it's not a
Mhm.
slight because that it is what it is. I'm not saying, oh, I'm mad because y'all went from
Right.
number one, but it's an adjustment. I mean, women don't have to do that. At worst case, you go from number one to number two because the kid takes precedence or whatever, or they might be equal. But the dude is gonna go from one to the back of the bus real quick. So being able to kind of navigate and understand, okay, the focus the focus isn't necessarily on me. I got to make sure that everybody else is straight because that was my job to make sure everybody else is straight. And that comes back around if you do your job, to the best of your ability. Because there is no blueprint to this thing. It's just I was raising my daughter by myself. I was just throwing darts against the wall, just hoping they stick and hoping I didn't raise a psychopath. And that's what I told her at her college graduation. And I said, look, I'm just happy you didn't turn out to be a psychopath, because I didn't know what I was doing, but I was just trying my best and being there, you know being out of these orchestra joints I had kids in two different states, so make sure you got these orchestra joints and after school programs and still be an entrepreneur and then running around here and then making sure they straight. They crying for no reason. You don't even know what it is and trying to navigate through all life challenges. That's something that kids remember is that you just being there and people always say, what about just being there? You got to just be there. You ain't perfect. There ain't no blueprint. You can take advice from other men, but I mean, every kid is different. Every situation is different. So you just trying to make sure you help create a human being. Now it's your job to kind of make sure they are, a stable part of that.
So I noticed that, as I was doing your introduction, there was a lot going on, and you're a very, very busy person. How do you find balance, or how do you find time and everything that you're doing to still be present as a father?
So what I found out as being an entrepreneur is definition of balance for me is not what everybody else balances. When you think of balance, you think of like a scale and it like they supposed to equal and that's balance. There's no that's not a thing for entrepreneurs. My balancing scale is okay, I might be up here one day and this might be down here, but as long as you don't fall off one of them two, then it's balanced, right? It's still
Right.
balanced
Right.
because it's gonna go back and forth between I work too much and I don't work enough. And okay, sometimes it might be closer than others, but as long as that thing don't we was on teeter totters back in the day. And as long as you don't flip somebody off and jump off and somebody fly across the street, that's balance to me. So sometimes I am overly present, and sometimes I got to make up because I'm out of town. Somebody has something to do. Hey man, I wish I could have been there. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna make up for it this way. Or you know how we roll. We got our own little hand signals and signs and laughter and jokes and inside jokes. And you just got to make sure that they know if I could have been there, I would have. Because remember, everything I mean, most of the stuff I do is on Saturday, Sunday, weekend. So that's when everybody's off. So I'm typically working. So if I'm working all day, then I gotta make sure like on a Tuesday, a random Tuesday, maybe we go bowling or something like, or maybe we watch a movie or do something silly or go get ice cream. Or me and my daughter we was on TikTok hard, just looking at recipes, and then we'd go to the store and we'd buy all that stuff and we make whatever it was. Those are stuff that you gotta know your kids, and the only way you can know your kids is if you spend time with them. And it again, the amount, like I told people, time doesn't exist in my world. People, what's too fast, what's too slow. You start checking the clock and all that stuff, and then you kind of miss out on what it is, because you never know. Should something be 6 months, 2 hours, 30 minutes? You don't know that. So all you gotta do is make sure time is a quality thing and not an actual like, oh, I'm looking at the clock and seeing what's going on. Because me and my daughter was on TikTok. We looked up how to make some, you know, Thai Thai curry, and we went to the Chinese grocery store, about everything. We can't even read half this stuff in the store, but we bought everything we saw. We came back home and we made it, and we crushed that joint. And
That's
that's
good.
something that she gonna remember forever, right? So we was on stuff like that.
Man, you are heavy into the fatherhood space, man, and your initiative. Talk about that for me.
Well, so I got a call 4 years ago from our international president, Honorable Chris Berry, and he said, I have a committee that's real something I really really want to do that doesn't exist, and I thought of you. From my perspective, he's seen me in every, we have a personal relationship, but he's seen me at every element of the fatherhood space. He's seen me as a married father. He's seen me as a divorced father. He's seen me as a girl dad, a boy dad, a single dad. So when he came up with a program that said, "Hey man, we need to create a program that aims to find resources and avenues and stuff for the fathers." He pointed the finger at me, and for the last 4 years, I've been doing what he asked, just trying to figure out ways to better fathers. A lot of stuff that we seem to get left behind. So we can go further. And the main thing was, I was asked, what piece of advice would you give to a new or expecting father? And my number one thing I tell for any father, new or not new, is that you need to make sure that your mental health is straight, so that you can then make sure that the mother and the kid are straight. Because we're supposed to be the leaders or the head or whatever. I don't even get all biblical and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, if the man is supposed to be the leader or the head, then how could your ship be going the right direction if the captain don't got it all together upstairs? We that's why men jumping out the boat, men, hey man, you can take the steering wheel to the boat, or I give up, or this fight is too hard. So if we keep that mental straight, then at least we can battle a little bit better.
Now, you talked about the mental part of stuff. And I think that's real important, right? I remember listening to a pastor, and the pastor said, it's hard to follow a parked car. And that resonated with me. And I've been saying it for years now, because it absolutely resonated with me. And so the mental health aspect of it, so everything that you're doing, because I see you all over the place, right? And you're doing a lot. And I know in that space, sometimes mental health becomes a focal point for you. How do you cope with, or how do you manage those times when you feel yourself being in a place that you feel that is uncomfortable?
So I got out of the, like, there's some great things about being a lover of God, and then it sometimes is a crutch for people, because black people in general, especially black men, used to be really really opposed to medicine or to doctors, right? So mental health in the black church was like a scarlet letter, right? Oh man, you're going to see a therapist and all that stuff, man. We got Jesus, and I'm cool. The same thing that you told me that you heard from a pastor, I just randomly thought of one day. And every time I get into the mental health space, I say it, especially the black Christians or minority Christians. I said, God created the world, earth, everything in it, right? In a short amount of time at that. So we know that God can do anything. So when it comes down to your mental health, people say, pray about it and God gonna take care of it. And that very well may be true, but if God was wise enough to put people on this earth that went to school for 16 years to help you navigate through your mind, then it don't take being spooky to do that. Like it's like, oh God, Dr. Jackie went to school. She went to get her BS, then she got a master, then she got a PhD, and now she's a mental health therapist. And you telling me that Jesus is gonna fix it when Jesus put somebody on the earth that went to school and studied all this stuff to be able to help you right here. So I'm not praying about it. I mean, I pray about it, but I'm not praying about it. Okay, I'm just gonna wait on God to just drop mental health into my brain when I have resources to do that. So I'm not opposed to it at all. I believe that everybody should have therapy, and they always gonna tell you something that happened when you was like 10 years old or 8 years old. Like, yo, something happened, when I fell off my bike and everybody laughed at me, and that's why I treat women this way, or this is why I react a certain way. So, you know, I'm telling you, after a breakup, after something traumatic, when you meet somebody new, that might be one of the third dates. Like, hey man, look, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna go to the club one night, we're gonna go to dinner the next night. Hey man, that third date, we might need to go to therapy. I just want to see where you at. You know what I'm saying? I want to know what's going on, what type of demons you battling, what type of because again, I mean, I'm 40 plus years old. So at this point, trying to find somebody that's unscathed is unrealistic, right? Everybody at this age has been through something. So I'm just trying to figure out if my heel scars and all that match yours at this point. I'm not trying to find a perfect person or somebody that's gonna be just walking on water, because that's unrealistic. Yeah, people got kids, job pressures, we in a dang on recession, we got tariffs and other stuff. People racism coming back, like, what I'm saying, like bell bottoms. Yeah, what we gonna do to make sure that we mentally straight? Like we gotta focus on that. So that's battle number one. If, we get your mental right, then at least you can fight a little better.
How we get more people to the table, man? Because we in our community, we think it's taboo. See a therapist, have those sessions. What we think some of the solutions are to get more people to the table.
So I mean, man, platforms like this, and realistically, especially for Black men, because again, I've been a Sigma father for 4 years. I'm in a fraternity. What I found is it is really hard to get Black men and brown men to the table. But if you just get a crack in the door, all you gotta do is just be real. Like I told people, like I joke around about it all the time, but it's something serious. I had really, really been struggling with mental health probably, 12 years. Like my whole marriage, I was struggling, and you don't really know what it is because you in the middle of the storm. You don't know that you in the storm when you're in the middle of it. You just trying to make it day by day. So when it really came down to, okay, medication, my mom worked at the hospital, so I was taking hospital strength stuff when I was a kid. So medication didn't really work. But then it came down to dad's like, yo, I didn't take medicine for like 12 years, right? Why did I take the medication, Black man? Tell me why. Tell me what's the number one reason why Black men won't take medication, especially for something like mental health. What do y'all think?
You say the number one thing?
I would say ED.
Exactly. Yeah, man. You don't want to take that. You don't want to
Yeah,
take that dang on medication. You
yeah,
don't
we
want
ain't
your
messing
thing
with
to be.
that,
You know what
brother.
I'm saying?
Say
You
that.
want to.
Yeah,
You don't want to be
right,
in my prime
right,
right now. I ain't want to be.
right.
Take the risk of
Exactly.
that. So,
Yeah,
man, my doctor,
Mandingo.
right? My doctor, Dr. Barbara Joy Jones. She's an AKA. She's here in the Atlanta area. And she hit me. She was like, bro, you've been struggling. You told me you've been struggling for like over a decade. She was like, so would you rather risk being crazy and having all these crazy thoughts and not being able to sleep and all this stuff? Would you rather think about death or all that? Or would you rather take the risk that maybe the short chance that your joint might have a little bit of complications? Now, granted, I still had to think about it a little bit. I still had to,
Right.
man, doc, come on, man. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I was like, okay, cool. And that was one of the best decisions I ever made. You know what I'm saying? Now all the fog was gone, and you could like really, because I'm one of the people, I don't do nothing crazy. I ain't all agitated and all that, but I lay in the bed for like a week, 2 weeks straight when I'm depressed. And you don't want to get up. Now, all the problems that you had 2 weeks ago, they multiply by like 100, because now whatever you was already struggling with, you'd have added job stuff on top of that. You done neglected people, you done neglected work, you done neglected your kids and all that stuff. And all that because I was so worried about, what I'm saying, something so minute, what I'm saying, that it's important to fellas, but at the end of the day, that's not life and death. And then you get yourself together, and then you can come off of it, and then I'm saying, you might bounce back or whatever. So it really wasn't that serious of a decision to have delayed that process for 12 years. So again, the thing we go back to is if you get black men in a space and be open and honest, like we talking right now, then lights start going up in their head, like, man, dang, so I didn't even know that, you see it. Like we have a men's brunch twice a year. The last one we have 65 black males from age 8 to 65. So we had a wide range of kids all the way up to older distinguished men. And you could just see the light bulbs going off like fireworks. Boom, then everybody started, man, my baby mama this, and man, I've been struggling with this, and man, this is it was just because somebody needed somebody real to say something, so they can be like, all right, man, he ain't embarrassed by this, so I can speak on that, and they know that it's not going to go anywhere. So you gotta create that safe space for black men. And again, honestly, man, we don't have it a lot of times. We don't have anybody we can run to. You know, you some but women weren't necessarily trained just as much as guys were, because again, black men have been removed from the household a lot of these situations. So who was training the men? The ladies. They
Mhm.
don't know how to be men, so they just like I was doing raising my daughter. They just throwing stuff against the wall too to see if it stick. They can only go off of their experience, and so when you're talking about relating to a man, how a man feels, if he cry in front of you, you're gonna clown him, or if what I'm saying, if he's struggling, you're gonna leave him. That's a lot of stuff that goes through our minds. And really, if you was with somebody that was healed or somebody that really, really loved you and understood you or tried to understand you, then those things that black men are so scared about wouldn't happen. We wouldn't be worried about them.
How you feel about seasoned men? We see, Bible speaks of wisdom, right? And having the old, we call old school now, and, the younger kids, if it ain't on TikTok, it ain't true. But where you think the role is us 40 plus men comes in as far as seasoned men? We've been through it, and talking and educating the young men about life and stress and mental health.
So again, I think we're in a unique position that we still are actively learning how to be men, right? Which is weird. Even though we like middle age, we're still actively learning how to be men, because half the stuff we learned was wrong. And the reason it was wrong is because the person that taught you, your dad or your grandfather, they were taught wrong. Because again, they only were taught off of experiences. Man, that's that stuff like, so we have to learn and keep learning so we can course correct. Like that phrase, I hate it to death. Man up. I've never ever said that to my sons. Man up from what we were taught was, hey man, shut down, keep it everything to yourself, just suffer in silence. That's the dumbest advice you could ever give a human being, let alone a man, is to, hey man, just take whatever you get, whatever she say, he say, your boss say, man, just deal with it in your inside. Like people broken down because they don't have any outlets, and they like, man, this ain't even right. I can't tell anybody because I'm just supposed to internally just suck it up and be a man, and that's not being a man. I raised my sons to be able to express themselves because that was something I was shy about as a kid. So you can express yourself, then you can get some help, or at least at worst case, you can get some further understanding about what's really going on inside you. Black men could help another black man. So that's our job. Continue to learn, and then we pass down information or experiences that really are true. Man up. Nah, don't man up. You're gonna be mentally broken, and you're gonna be settling. And the sad part is men settle a lot, and then we do something stupid, and then we get blamed for we should have never settled, right? You know, you're not happy in your relationship. You really want to leave. You don't. Then you do something stupid. Now you're the bad guy where you should have just left because you wasn't happy. We just sticking around because grandpa told us, hey man, you stick around. What I'm saying? Happy wife, happy life. Nah, bro, that goes back to the ship thing. If the captain of the ship that's steering the ship ain't happy, how is the whole ship ever gonna be happy as a whole? You know, so it ain't happy life, happy wife, happy life. Is everybody need to be happy and growing and successful for this ship to get to the proper destination. Because you might get to a destination that know it might be divorce, suicide, super depression. So if you get it right, then you could be up in Cabo somewhere, living on the beach, sipping mai tais. If you do your relationships right, and that's any relationship, not just love relationship, kid relationship, boss relationship, friendship, that That's just work that we need to do.
Got it. And I like the example that you talked about. One of the things that I just want to give you your props up to your face, right? Is commend you on your stance, right? When I first heard you talk about the mental health aspect, I was attending a function with you and you started talking about the mental health and you started talking about fatherhood and all those good things. And I said to myself, and I started looking around the room and I saw like big eyes of black men, just the eyes wide open. And I was like, finally, somebody said it. And that was most important to me. So, from me to you, thank you for taking a stand and thank you for being transparent, right? Because that takes a lot to get to that point. So I'm just glad that you're honest with yourself. So now you can be honest with others, right? And so that movement continues. So I just wanted to take the opportunity and the time just to say thank you, right? Publicly in front of everybody and even sharing your story here because where I come from, that journey and that movement of being transparent is something that speeds up the next generation. Because, like you were talking about, we come from a generation who was still learning. Guess what? We're still learning. And as long as you have breath, you're going to still continue to learn.
That's right.
One of the things I don't talk about being man up, I tell people I tell men, especially young men, older men, or whatnot, is to be present. Be present and be accountable, right? And part of being present and being accountable is being transparent, is being vulnerable, right? And at the same time, not understanding that you be guided by your ego and your pride.
That's
Because
right.
guess what? We got a lot of dead people and we got a lot of brothers in prison. And we
Mm-hmm.
got a lot of brothers on the corner, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, doing some other crazy stuff because their pride and their ego won't allow them just to be open and honest. And for me, I just kind of look at it from that standpoint of what you're talking about is like
True.
we got to be the change we want to see.
Exactly. And almost everything. We got to be the change we want to see. And again, we gotta stand on that joint. Like we almost back in the 40s and 50s again, bro. Like, so are we gonna be Twitter arguing all day? Like, we don't got time for that. No, we passed the Twitter arguing and Facebook arguing with people. Like, we literally
That's
about to
right.
be back in the 40s. Like, what are we doing? Especially considering that we got kids now. Like, do we want our kids? I saw a post the other day. It was like something like basically our grandparents didn't go through the struggle for their grandkids to have to do the same thing. Like, we literally that close to being back in the 40s and 50s again, where our kids, who we work all this hard for, to buy all these Xboxes and get them in schools and scholarships and play sports anywhere they want to go, anything they want to do. We this close to being back where we back in the bus, segregated bathrooms. You got to worry about if your boss is you're not gonna get a raise or a promotion because your boss don't like you at all. And you can't do nothing about it. Like, it's getting real, and people playing and laughing and giggling, everybody doing TikTok dances and all that. But what are we really doing right now? Like, you on the front lines, what we have a problem. We only show up to parent teacher conferences or school board meetings when there's a problem. But man, we should be having people that's on these boards. We should be having people that are PTA presidents, PTSA presidents, because our voices being heard. We need to have people, um, especially Black men, taking part in some of these studies, because even with medical studies, we're the least group that participate. So all this medicine that's being approved for people to take, we like 2% of that trial. So it likely ain't really working for us like it could, because we ain't even been involved in the whole test process. So it's so much that we could do, that we could step up. And yeah, we got Black doctors, we got judges, we got lawyers, like, we got all kind of stuff that we can lean on, that we don't have to necessarily pray that another race or another whatever given is feeding us information or feeding us what to do with our bodies, or our kids, or at our jobs. We at a point now where we really gotta really combine forces like Voltron, like for real, and really start doing stuff that's best for us. The Hispanic
I think
community
a
does.
lot of those reasons, I mean to cut you off, I think a lot of those reasons that we don't participate in a lot of those studies, you look at the Tuskegee incident, what happened in Tuskegee, you look at what happened, slavery, post-slavery, and, things that happened, in Puerto Rico with the ladies, all these things, that are, when you unpack all that, and
Scared.
those traumas are passed down,
Right. But
you
now,
know,
but the thing is, though, is like, we have Black and brown doctors now.
that's
So
right. That's right.
So it's like if you're like for me, and people get mad all the time. Like I didn't take the COVID shot. That was just a decision because I don't really take medicine. I grew up on medicine. So one, normal medicine don't work. And two, I told my daughter that day, we were just talking. I was like, you know what? You about to be 23 years old in a month. And I've only been sick 3 times your entire life. And not like sick, like I'm just talking about a cold. You know what I'm saying? Nothing I got to go to the hospital for. I really only been sick like 3, 4 times in 20 plus years. So I didn't feel the need to take something that I didn't feel that, yeah, it might be tested for, but that was never what I was worried about. I was worried about, hey man, like I never seen a medication get approved that fast. So I'm looking at long-term side effects. Like what's going to happen in 40 years when we still was looking for AIDS and cancer cures and all that. We got a cure for something or uh, a remedy for something in like 8, 9 months. That is something I just didn't want to do, but I still have faith in medicine and doctors. So that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying for me, is my decision. But I trust doctors, especially the black ones that have gone to school again, just like they went to school for 10 years. They got student loans and all that kind of stuff. They vested in making sure that people are healthy, and we gotta lean in on them to help us out.
Yeah. And I agree with you, because one of the things that I did maybe about 5 years ago, and don't y'all laugh at me when I say this, right? But I transitioned to a plant-based black male doctor. Part of it was because I was looking at going plant-based, and I know y'all look at my size, but I'm almost there because I kind of cut out a lot of stuff, right? And so I'm almost there. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted to do it. And I know he would have interventions that would help me with that transition and that process, right? But I also went to him because who better to understand me and know me
At
than
first,
Good.
somebody who comes from my same anatomy, right? And so that worked for me. And I'll be honest with you, it's been the best decision ever. I am actually down 50 pounds based off of recommendations and just changing my lifestyle.
changing your
I
lifestyle.
Yeah, and I needed that, right? So I honestly absolutely believe in, making sure that you're connected with the right professionals that you need, right? From mental health as well as doctors. So I absolutely believe that. I want to take a transition, man, and kind of connect something to it, right? Because we talked about black fathers, right? And so you're a black father who's trying to transition and take generational wealth to another level, right? So talk to us about this water company, man. That is nuts. Talk to us about that.
So again, I try because again, being an entrepreneur is hard, right? You go to work from 9 to 5, 12 to 7, 3 to 11, whatever. Like you're getting a check. Where me, that's not necessarily the thing. So people see celebrity photographer and all that. I'm like, look, man, your bank account probably looking better than mine, but I have the opportunity at all times to change that, right? So that's the biggest blessing I have is that I can get a raise or a promotion or whatever anytime I so choose, so based on my body of work. So I have relatives, they've been at their job 20 years. Somebody else get the promotion because they're not black or their cousins or aunties or uncle own the place and all that. I don't have to deal with that. If I want to raise, I'm cool. I'm never gonna fire myself, so I'm good, right? Like I'm straight. I don't gotta worry about layoffs and all that. Like
That's,
I just gotta,
that's
I ain't
good.
gotta worry about that. I don't smoke weed, but if I smoke weed, I ain't have to worry about drug tests or nothing like that. I'd be good either way. And I tell people all the time when we get the old Mark, the old Antoine had a little attitude, but I'm an entrepreneur. So I technically ain't scared to go to jail either because I'm not getting fired from my job. So if something pop off, I can bail myself out and I ain't got to worry about going to my job tomorrow. But, oh, you caught a case. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, I'm good. Like, Antoine, you straight? Yeah. Dwayne, you straight? Okay, I'm good. I'm going back to work. You know what I'm saying? So all that to be said is, I try to come up with I try to do a new investment every year because I'm in the entertainment business, so I see trends. And sometimes I wish I wasn't a single dad, or I wish that I had a little bit more influence over the people that I'm around, my circle of influence, because I see trends before they happen. So had I had money to jump in Airbnb or Turo or some of these other spaces before they were a hot thing, I would have, but I didn't. So when I finally got to a space where I could, I started doing little small investments every year. Like, okay, if I invest in this will give me some bread for about 2 3 years, and I do little stuff like that. So year one, like 4 years ago, it was throne chairs. That was a big thing in photo shoots. Everybody wanted to sit on a throne chair, so I bought 3 of them. Boom, made the bread. Then the year after that was everybody was on the 360 video booths. You know, everybody wanted one for their wedding, for their party, and all that. So I bought one of them, and I really did really smooth with that because I technically went on Facebook and said I had it, and then I booked a whole bunch of people, and then I went and bought it with the money I booked. It was crazy. That was the craziest thing ever. Then we get to the water. So I was doing a photo shoot at an event. It was an award ceremony. The black man came up to the stage. He was an honoree. He was like, "Yeah, my name is such Fahim Ali. I own my own black-owned water company. And, this pH level, blah blah blah." He was like, "Man, it's not really a hard investment, but you got to think about it from two ways. One, black people don't drink enough water. Right? You're absolutely right. Two, it's black-owned from top to bottom. So if that's something you wanted to invest in, I can show you ropes. I can show you how to do it without bumping your head against the wall like I do. Because again, I'm a black man in a space that's something that black people weren't in. So I did my research for about a year, just calling him, talking to him, checking out there, going out to the plant all the way up by the mountains, after Temple, Georgia, Tennessee, looking at the process, check it out, start designing stuff, ask my family, and I invested in it. And that was one of the greatest decisions I could do. To now, I'm able to not only provide something for the kids that could go on forever, because my kids aren't interested in photography like that at all. They just not. I'm like, yo, I built this thing, and I'm probably going to have to give it to somebody else, or this is just going to dissolve because that's just not what they're interested in, and that's cool. I want them to lead their own lives, but even if they're not, we could say, hey, you the vice president, you the president, you the CEO, you the I'm just the marketing director technically for Running Water, but it's an opportunity for to build some generational wealth and to help other people while you're doing it. So I'm really enjoying that.
And what's the name of it again? We want to
Running,
clarify that.
yeah, Runneth Water. So we named it. We came up in the family chat group because both of my grandmothers passed away from cancer. So that's kind of like the back scope of it. Alkaline water is healthy. So what can we do to honor the grandparents? So one was a missionary, one was a evangelist. So we came up with the name Runneth as that biblical type of name that makes it
That's
sound.
nice.
So Runneth Water was cool. Every time we talk about colon cancer is the big one. That's what my dad's mom passed from, and then my mom's mom passed from it was like liver. So we got that built into the whole thing. It's like, okay, we want to make sure that black people are healthy, and again, like going off of what you said, I had experiences since I moved to Georgia to I was in a relationship with somebody that was like full health nut, like purist and all that, and I really, really, you don't understand the changes in your life until you get on a food and drink regimen that is more healthy. Because I hadn't eaten pork. I hadn't been to a McDonald's or a Burger King or a Taco Bell in almost 10 years. And when I stopped eating, pork was the first thing I stopped eating. And I can't even really stand the smell of pork now. But when I stopped it fully, you can feel the difference in your body. Like you can feel it. So that's one thing about being in leadership. We're gonna be strong black men. We got to be healthy too. We can't be dying, not going to the hospital, not going to the doctor when we feel so. We just sitting around just waiting to die, as opposed to being proactive in our health. You know what I'm saying? Like go to the doctor, eat right. You know what I'm saying? All that soul food is good. Trust me, I smash all the time because I travel a lot, so I go to all these places. But for the most part, I don't eat pork at all. Haven't. I don't eat a whole lot of we use natural sugars and stuff like that. It might be $1 more at the store to go from that regular sugar to all natural sugar cane or whatever. I don't do a whole lot of sweets and stuff like that. I really do. I only eat beef maybe like once or twice a month. I'm kind of on like turkey, chicken, and seafood. So you feel the difference in your body. If I'm around, if I'm active, if I'm not sluggish, if my mind clear, then I can better be a dad. I could better be a black man. I could better be a pillar of the community or a servant because I'm here. One, I'm not in the box. Two, I'm not sluggish. I ain't all I'm about. Everything ain't messed up. I'm just here and ready to do what I need to do. So yeah.
What's that discipline like, man, to stick to that regimen? Probably you or Marcus can answer that. I go through phases, man, where all it takes is a cruise or a cookout, right? You like, you go on a cruise, it's everything is at your disposal. Pizza, hamburger, man,
Yeah, but
red
that's
velvet cake.
cool. Yeah, that's cool. But at the end of the day, like once you get into that joint, you're not even gonna really like again, that was the funniest story ever. I had it maybe like it was like 6 years I hadn't eaten pork. And I went to the Waffle House. And I ordered the same thing for 30 plus years at the Waffle House. Let me get da 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 da. I did it so much it was muscle memory. So I got to the Waffle House before a frat meeting, and I was like, I'm early for the frat meeting. Let me go to Waffle House and get some food. I ordered the food. They put it on the table, and I'm looking around like, what does that smell? Like it smells. I feel like I'm about to throw up. Like it is that bad of a smell. And I'm looking around like, what's going on? And I look down, and this off of muscle memory, I ordered pork chops and eggs, and it smelled so bad right under my nose. I was like, man, look, take that bag. Y'all can have it. We still got to charge you for it. I said, I don't care. Man, you can have it, or you can give it to another customer, but let me go ahead and get something different because I had not eaten it in 6 years. Just the smell of it alone, but just the fact that I ordered it just off of, hey, we coming in from the club, you know what I'm saying, frat party, let me get that pork chop and eggs, mother covered the chunk, you know what I'm saying, I had the whole, I said all that, didn't even think about it, just ordered the whole
Right.
joint, boom, and didn't even know, so once you stop eating that stuff, man, I'm telling you, and it don't change now, what Mark tried to do, that's one of the hardest things ever, trying to be like fully plant-based, like that joint is hard, and it's kind of expensive too, so
Yeah,
yeah, you gotta have the money to be healthy too, like, it's like,
That's true.
I'm about to say that
Yeah.
that is the part. It's tough, man, and I struggle still, right? Yeah, I struggle. So one of the things that I look at, my golden rule is that if I mess up, I give myself grace. If I have one bad meal, then I know the rest of the day I got to be on point, right? And so when I started doing that, that helped because now I'm like, all right, you messed up, but you can make that up. And so for me, that's been the key. Mine is just don't mess up all day. You know what I'm saying? If you fall a little bit, take that L and get back up and be like, I ain't messing up the rest of the day. And so that part has really got me, moving. But otherwise, I usually just keep a straight regiment and I allow myself one day out the week to have a pleasure day of doing whatever, right? So normally it's
That's good.
usually on Fridays, and I just have a pleasure day on Friday. But I know anybody who know me, they know my favorite thing right now is a smoothie. I don't even like food no more, really. I like a smoothie. Give me a smoothie.
yeah,
That's
look,
my thing. Y'all get in the car with me, y'all go see a smoothie cup, right? Because that's just kind of how I get down a little bit now, right? But for me, it's
That's
just not
good.
allowing myself to mess up every day. And then if I am operating on a strict diet, I still allow myself one day to have that freedom to do whatever because my whole thing is like all work and no play
That's
make a
good.
bad day, right?
and
So
I'm
That's
gonna
that
tell you,
good.
that includes my taste buds.
yeah, again, that was another thing. I was a single dad too, so it wasn't like money was long when you talking about me and three other kids, and we talk about two boys in there. We already know how boys can smash. So
Man,
I was cooking a lot, so that not, and then COVID hit, so everybody was in the house, and it was like once we came out of COVID, because remember I'm a photographer, so it was just COVID only slowed me down for like 26 days. After that was over, I was working like 3 times more than I worked when we were in COVID. Like COVID was the best financial experience ever for me because people had to
mhm,
pivot. You were
Uh-huh.
stuck in the house, you trying to figure out how to do it. So people start making candles and they were doing podcasts and everybody needed pictures. And I could take pictures, I could be 20 feet away and not even have to worry about catching nothing from you because I didn't have to be close to you. Take the pictures, send you a link, you pick your pictures. I was cool. So I was traveling all over the US. So when we came out of COVID, I don't really eat chain restaurants anymore because the food just doesn't even taste the same. Like I know it because I've been to probably 20 states. Like then you got to worry about the wait. Ain't nobody want to work either. So no wait staff. The customer service is different. So I don't really go to chain restaurants. I try to find a little mom and pop shops, preferably, or I really seek out black owned businesses. That's a big thing for the fraternity and a big thing for me as well, because I am a black owned business. So if I come to your city, I'm looking for the food spot that's owned by grandma with the, with the I learned that, if food don't taste the same, prices going up, customer service is trash, then why am I going to eat unhealthy on top of that? Like, I might as well just stay at the crib, cook something that I know I could cook. I know what's healthy. I know I made with good ingredients and all that stuff, and again, increase my health and keep a little bit of money in my pocket.
Man, you gotta look for the pots too. Make sure they black on the bottom.
Right.
That's how you know you're dealing with a good cook when you go somewhere too.
Yeah, bro. Man.
Yeah, my sister said if they don't have them bat wings flat, but I'm not doing no, I'm
Man,
not
like,
doing
not,
nothing
not in
right.
no soul food spot, bro. Like, that thing ain't,
Just if the
yeah,
bat wings ain't
like,
flat.
Yeah.
nah, I'm
You look for
not.
that grease on that apron, man, and some house shoes.
Yeah.
Bro,
Hey, if
I
they
went
ain't
to a
Yeah.
got them sandals on
Yeah,
Yeah.
I went to a spot in
on the
Nashville.
barbecue
Like,
pit.
so
Yeah.
if you haven't been to Nashville, you need to go. But it's a spot called Silver Sands, black owned soul food spot. And I like Nashville for many reasons. It's like a Myrtle Beach or like a Pigeon Forge type environment. But the museum there is amazing, and they got a lot of food spots. And it's a touristy town. But Silver Sands, man, is a soul food joint. And when they had Mama and them in the lobby breaking down collard greens. I was like, oh yeah, I know this is about to be on, bro. They snapping and pulling. I was like, oh yeah, this is about to be amazing. So I go there every time because it's just good food. Yeah, and I'm gonna find food no matter where I go.
Man, you might have everybody get an Airbnb now in Nashville now
Yeah,
going
I'm about to
on
say,
this podcast.
Yeah,
yeah,
the
you
natives
about to
be
take
there.
them to you gonna
The natives be
take
there
them to
next year,
heaven.
so I'm definitely gonna be there. But I mean, but the National Museum of African American Music is there, so that was one of the greatest museums I've ever been to in my life. Yeah, it's just all music from slavery all the way to now. Like, me and my kids got lost in there because they're all musicians. So we could have been at museum 12 hours. They got music booth and beat makers and dancing and all that. It was amazing. So yeah, it's again, that's a part of fatherhood. Is like, I think we went to Nashville on like a Thursday, or stayed to Saturday. And we just, hey, this is what we gonna do. I heard about this museum. We're gonna go up here, have a good time, because that may be some time where I have money, so I could be super dad, this month, as opposed to Christmas. The world has put all this pressure on us on Christmas. If you gotta buy $1,000 Xbox and some Jordans and all this, you're gonna spend $3,000, and then 6 days later your rent due.
Yeah.
Come on, bro. No, I'm not putting that pressure on myself as a single dad. Look, this ain't it. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get what we can do, and we're gonna do what we can. But guess what? That June trip we take or whatever, or that random weekend for spring break that we go down to somewhere else, that's gonna be Christmas, because y'all gonna really love this. And we have some amazing experiences just on random days that we gotta take the pressure off of being a black man, knowing that, hey man, Thanksgiving just popped off, Christmas come, and then rent come right after that, and then you in the Valentine's Day if you got a loved one. That's like pocket gauntlet right there. Them 3 months.
I got a
Man.
question for you, man,
Yeah.
but you right on point with that. So I'm hearing about the traveling and whatnot, right? So I follow you on social media, and I recently I've seen you in different states and different places, and you all dressed up in your fine clothes and your suits and your bow ties, and you know what I'm saying, and you all clean and everything else, and you taking these pictures with these other Greek organizations and whatnot. Tell me about this D9 experience and what you're doing over there.
So, man, I had to understand, and I was arguing with somebody on Facebook today, and I don't argue on Facebook with people, but we got into this whole, like, somebody jumped on a post. It was like, man, denounce and repent, and I'm like, okay, man, like, listen, like, I don't argue with people about stuff, but I'm a very logical person when it comes to I didn't experience devil worship, all that goofy stuff that people be getting off Reddit boards, and I knew it was coming. I knew it was, hey man, it happens in Christianity. People get saved, and then they extra Christianity, so that everything is the devil. Everything gonna send you to hell. And to a degree, I do agree, but I haven't experienced anything in Phi Beta Sigma or Zeta Phi Beta that that would be that. And soon as you get that Reddit board message, I said you were drinking monkey blood, you were doing all this, you were drinking out of a skull, you just start laughing. But I give people this example because I'm a 1000% logical person. Mark, you know me for 26 years. Like I'm logical. So it got to be logical. It got to make sense. And I broke it down today on this note. Just in this Zeta post that he was commenting on, I said they have 5 founders. 2 were sisters, right? But the other 3, these folks ain't know each other from Adam. 5 black women from all over the East Coast for the most part, because they were kind of like East Coast women. You telling me that 5 college black women, the founder was like, hey, Arizona, hey y'all, let's go ahead and worship the devil. Y'all cool with that? Like, it don't even make any logical sense to
No.
you can't convince black people to do nothing, let alone, hey man, let's go ahead and worship the devil, man. I think that'd be a real good idea. I know we trying to get degrees. This 1920, we ain't even got no rights like that. We can't vote. Ain't no phone, ain't no social media, but we just devised a plan to hoodwink a nation and worship the devil. 5 black women. Delta's got 22. You convince 22 random people to worship the devil. Bro, you don't sit down somewhere. And I haven't experienced anything that anybody screenshot me. I haven't experienced that either. And I've been through the whole like doubt when I got back in the church and thought about things. But once you get away from that pressure and you start doing what my pastor used to say, you ain't gotta take my word for it. Like LeVar Burton, like go home and do the research for yourself. I haven't found anything that would cross that line and say this is unholy, because anything you can do could be unholy if you do it too much. So you on a post talking about repent and this and that. Well, sir, you out of shape. So that means you didn't take care of your temple like God told you to do. So that means you need to go repent, right? So it's like that was the whole thing. So to go off of that, these organizations were created in times of need. '06 to 1963. There weren't exactly times where black people had a whole lot of rights and things. So these people created these organizations to kind of help supplement all that racial discrimination, you know, jobs for women, whatever you want to put there, just to serve the community. That's what these organizations were built for, and I'm in one. So if I'm in one, my job is to serve as much as I can, help my community. I've always done that, so it's just now I'm in a bigger organization that can do more. If it's more people serving the community, you can achieve more. My family has always served the community. Food bank. My grandfather worked at a food bank, so everything that they were going to throw away, they would let him come home with. We as a family would be in the kitchen with Ziploc bags, bagging food, canned goods, and all that. We would be giving it out to the community. So I've always, since I was like 6, we've always been serving the community. So adding another NAACP or alumni association, it's the same thing, just with deeper pockets and more people that are college educated for the most part. So I'm all for that. You got a whole bunch of people that are different, so everybody's not gonna always agree. But as a unit, y'all moving towards bettering the community, and that's something we can't poo-poo on. Oh man, the devil, man, the devil everywhere. The devil doing all kind of things. But what I need to do to make sure that my kids have a better future. So I'm out on the front line trying to talk about voter registration, voter rights, civil rights. We went down to Selma for the anniversary of the bridge crossing, and that was like unreal. Like I was on the bridge where John Lewis got whooped down for us, and we over here we twittering, we typing, thugging, like everybody was so excited about the Kendrick Lamar halftime performance, and not that I say I wasn't, but I said one, them people had to approve that halftime performance for him to do that. One, right? So they knew what he was gonna do because they had to approve it. Two, what are we doing tomorrow besides this?
Uh-huh.
I was at the state. I was at the Georgia State Capitol for a Sickle Cell Awareness Day, while everybody was on Facebook. Hey man, yeah, that was great. Oh, y'all didn't get it. Y'all missed how deep he was and all that. I'm cool with that. I'm not knocking that. I'm just saying, what are we doing? We back to the point where we talking is not a thing. We have to actually do something again. Like we can't just talk our way out of these problems. We have to show up. We have to do things that will help the community, and talking ain't one of them. So D9, you know, Black Greek-led organizations are on the front lines. They've always been on the front line. That's why I created the magazine and the award show, because, these people are working. And once you get past, college, I might not have a Phi Beta Sigma hat on every day. I might not have a jacket on or a shirt on every day. But if you peel back that layer, these people are the doctors, the lawyers, the judges, the school superintendents, the principals, and all that. You could just go into the Black community and throw a dart, and you can be like, okay, that's somebody that's in the fraternity and sorority. That's the principal, or your favorite math teacher, or your favorite doctor. We got mayors is a Kappa. Raphael Warnock is an Alpha. We got so many city council people that are Greeks. Our senators and House reps are Greek. So you can't tell me that these people aren't doing what they were tasked to do, because they are in the positions and they're fighting every day. They just don't, they might just have a hat on today.
So talk about the award show. What is this award show? Because you mentioned it earlier and it came back up. What is the award show? What is that about?
So 2019, pre-COVID, I created, I'm in the entertainment space, like I said. So I was doing all these photo shoots for celebrities and PR firms and brand management companies. And being in Atlanta, I'm like, dang, like every third person is a member of one of these organizations, right? We met Selena Johnson, she's Soror, she's a Zeta, and all these people that were meeting when I was working for these PR firms, it was like, dang, they're all Greek. But there was no specific periodical that would highlight them as a person. Now, all of our organizations have this internal magazine. Ours is called the Crescent, where it's like, brother such and such did this, brother such and such did that, brother such and such did. That's cool. But when I want to find out what impressed me the most, is finding out what brother Marcus Lennon likes. He has kids. He does this. He been trying to do this plant-based thing. He like bowling, whatever the case may be. That humanizes the people. So that acts as a recruitment tool. That acts as a reclamation tool. That gives the public another view of us, other than we just beat each other and we party all the time. Like, it's a whole nother view. So I created that Majority Greek magazine, which is basically like an Essence magazine for Greeks. And then once we came out of COVID, I was like, well, how can I bolster that? So I created the Pearly Awards, which is basically like the Stellar Awards for Greeks. So I have two ways to highlight and honor these people that are in Greek-led organizations from two different standpoints and still get the job done. So now people are seeing, hey, man, they don't just kick it. Like, they really out there on the front lines, but they still cool. I didn't know Selena Johnson like cranberry applesauce. I didn't know that, these other celebrities or these other people that are in Greek life. I didn't know that my councilwoman was a member of AKA. It just shed a whole new light on what these organizations are really doing. And it's like, wow, I didn't know. My house rep, we just got Kenya Wicks down here. Our soror, she's in, I think, District 44. She's, senator. We got Nakima Williams. We got all kind of people in political spaces that are in organizations. But then again, we got all these principals, we got judges, we got lawyers, we got doctors, we got, entrepreneurs. Is just, they're everywhere. And it's not, it's time to, it was time to shed that light on these people and honor them in a different way.
How do we get more people involved in the civic organizations? We see now, even church people not going to church like they used to back in, you see 60s, 70s, 80s, and people, church was the foundation of everything. And now you see, are we losing that sense of community, family to social media and some of the other things you think?
Yeah, and I think we're gonna have to be creative, because I don't think that's a one hit thing. Like, we have to meet these people where they are now. So like, I watch church. Well, if I was still in North Carolina, I would definitely be going to my church there. But I watch church. I watch church from home. I'll eventually do that, but I'm like a nomad. Like, I'm always traveling, so it's hard for me to go to it, because I might be traveling back from somewhere on Sunday, because that's when church is. So I listen into the church, and I found a church that's great for me. But we have lost that community, but that's not just a Black thing. That's just a people thing. We had Sunday dinners where the whole aunties, uncles, grandma, everybody was in grandma's house eating dinner. And families are just all over the place now, because again, we've grown. People got more jobs. People are starting to leave home more. Like, I'm not relegated to living in the 404. When I graduate, I'm out. People got opportunity scholarships, so they were venturing out. So family dynamic is a little bit different. And then we kind of found out that maybe we shouldn't have been so friendly with the neighbors. You know what I'm saying? We didn't know that the neighbor was a pedophile back in the day. So you got to kind of be careful about that. So people are a little less likely to send their kids and go meet the neighbors and all that. Hey, go over such and such house. Like, I don't know now because, like me, I can't have visitors over my house. I was a single dad with a daughter. I can't have no girl sleep over here. You know what I mean? Hey, look, baby, I love you. You know what I'm saying? We can do something during the day. But there ain't gonna be no little girls over here because I ain't catching no charge for no little girl talking about, Mr. Jones touching on her or something like that. I ain't even taking that risk. And so a lot of single households and all that stuff that we got to deal with is just, if we get back to the family thing. And again, that's on us. If we lead it right, if we mentally strong, then we can get back to the family, and then the family starts taking care of itself, and then the community grows based on that. Because I be going to churches and I'm like, yo, it'd be like 3 men in the whole church. Like I get hired to take pictures at events. I'm like, yo, it ain't no. The preacher might be there, and a couple deacons, and you look around and it ain't no dudes in the audience. It's all women, and we like, well, why we not leaders and all that? We ain't there. We ain't there. So we
You
got to do
got
something
it.
about
No, I absolutely agree where you are. So, you know, I got a couple more questions because I want to make sure we leave on a real good note, right? So, the first question I want to ask you is, if you could create one national policy tomorrow to support fathers, what would it be?
So I mean, actually trying to work on it now, but I think there should be some policies or guidelines for fathers, for new fathers, like it is for women. Like for women, like you technically can't leave the hospital until you learn how to effectively attach, the kid on your breast for breastfeeding, right? So it needs to be some programs like that for men, like fatherhood 101. Like this is what you need to do because I was there. Like all of my kids, I was there. Like every doctor's appointment, because I wanted to know. Because I mean, one, you was scared. The first one, you was scared. Like I don't want to break the kid. I don't want to get it down on me. Like I want to make sure that I know everything because this is some scary
Right.
stuff right here. That you responsible for another person now. That it ain't just you, and you got to make sure that they don't fall up. And my daughter was a preemie, so that's another reason why I'm so deep into Marsha Don. But my daughter was a preemie, so you talking about incubator. You talking about you know 3 pounds, 3 ounces with your kid fit into the palm of your hand. That was some scary stuff. So I was like everything. I was like every appointment, like, what about this? What's that? Oh, you called wrong, stuff, little monitors and stuff going off. So I wanted to know everything so that I can be better a parent. So I think that again, since the guys push, as soon as a woman gets pregnant, the guys push to number three for number one. I think that we need to have programs that really say, and it they not have to be mandatory, but programs that are like really, really specific to, hey, dad, this is what dads need to do. And I mean, we're trying to work on something like that with the March of Dimes to go along with their programming for women, like where it's just resources and peer groups and all that for men to understand fatherhood and understand how to be a man, financial literacy and all that stuff. It's so much stuff that we didn't learn and we just learned it on the fly. That could be a policy, but that would be my first one. Like Dad 101 would be a program that would be almost mandatory for men.
Got it, got it. And so my last question, and I know Ron, you might have some, but my last question, right? Because I know I could talk a lot. I want you to tell the audience in your own words, why does fatherhood matter? We want to leave on that. Why does fatherhood matter?
So fatherhood matters because it's just as important as motherhood. And if it takes two things to create one, then technically it'll take two things to sustain one, right? So you can't have half the food for the kid. Like you can't survive. You could try, but you can't survive on just like chicken. You need some vegetables or something to go with that. You need other nutrients besides protein to have a balanced life. And that's the same thing with parenting. Like fathers matter because that's a different perspective. That's a different feeling. That's a different nurture than women have, and kids need both. So yeah, if motherhood matters and fatherhood has to matter, and as men, we need to stop thinking that it doesn't. So we just sit back. We're like, no, I need to be really, really engaged because I'm just as important. I'm seeing stuff that mom didn't see. That's why daughter didn't get away with certain things because she can just be like, "Mom," and then your mom be like, "Okay," and you like, "Nah, fall back. That ain't gonna work with dad," or vice versa. Some stuff work for my daughter on me, but it's like, nah, she tried it. You know what I'm saying? The mama come through like she tried it. It's a yin and a yang. We need both ingredients to make a good meal. And fatherhood is definitely a very, very important ingredient. It is very, very, very important. And I think once we get men to understand that, then they'll be a little bit more enthused about doing it because it's an honor and it's a great journey.
Man, that's amazing. I think one of the last question, because I think you just brought up something in my mind always, man, moving on to the next one, right? Man, let's Marcus, let's get into it, man. Let's talk about dating. So I think that's the one key thing. As a dad with teenage daughters, man, give me your okay. So I know it's different for every family, but let's talk about it, right? Because people say, no, it's different for a boy than it is a girl. But that's your baby girl, man. That's you have one, I have three, right? But I want to slap every little joke out that's out here, man. It's like,
So man, look, I mean, so you're talking about her dating and not you dating because remember I'm a single
yeah,
dad. Okay, so
that's right.
and, um so again, I didn't worry about that because I was the example. So I am blessed, highly, highly blessed, um, that she found somebody that was similar or better than me in character and work ethic and so my daughter, like she's about to be 23 now. She didn't have her first boyfriend until she was like 20. She just didn't. So I didn't have to worry about I gotta come like like bad boys come to the door with the strap on, like, yo, what are you
Right.
doing? So I ain't had to do all
right,
that. No, we
right.
was ready, I was ready. You know what I'm saying? I always stay strapped up. My dad's a law enforcement officer. I'm gonna stay ready with that. I'm pretty surgical with the weapons, so I ain't never had to worry about that. And she knew to tell whoever she was gonna date. Hey man, my dad don't play. Like we not playing these type of games. So just know that the family from Youngstown, Ohio, they one phone call, everybody on the way. We got blue and white, they on the way. Like so you ain't got to worry about that. But I taught her the right way,
That's right.
and she never left that. Like she found a good dude. He's still a good dude. Like I can say I'm blessed that I didn't have to go through the heartbreak and she met a knucklehead. She met a real good dude, the first dude she ever met and dated, and I was like, I'm so happy about that. Like, cause all that hard work and then you got to run up on somebody and it really, if you train your daughter up,
That's
then
right.
prayerfully, she'll listen a little bit and she won't be dating knuckleheads. Like she ain't meet nobody like me in college, because I was a little knucklehead for a little while, like, but the real me, the normal me, what I'm saying, it is who she was raised by and one that has some sense. And she met somebody that probably had a little bit more than what I have. So I'm grateful for that. So yeah, just I was opening doors. I was like, I was in the kitchen cooking with her. Like, this how you cook. You seen your dad cook 4 or 5 times a week. You know what I'm saying? This is what we do.
That's
This is how
good.
we do this. This is how we do that. So
Yeah,
she got the day to day. She seen hard work. She seen car repo. She seen it all. She's like, hey man, she know like I busted my butt to provide for my family. So she's seen the good and the bad. But she's seen I've always been honest. Like I've always been open that this what it is. This is gonna be. This is where I gotta go. I can't be for this. I'm gonna be there for that. I ain't gonna miss this. We had opened up conversations, and then when it got to a point where it gets to a point where an old man and a young girl are not gonna see eye to eye. So we got to that point like in 11th grade where it was like she was talking and I was talking more. We just didn't understand each other, but we had already built such a relationship that was kind of okay. And then she found people that she could talk to. I found people I could talk to, like, yo, I'm just about to, I don't know, like we just, she not understanding me, I'm not understanding her. But at this point, this is when you need it. That's why fatherhood is important. This is why you needed a mom to be like, yo, this is why she going through this, and this is what she need here. So I have my sister, and one of our babysitters, that we used to, look out for her hairdresser. That was kind of important into her when we just didn't understand each other anymore. And that's something that's okay because that's just the nature of men and women. We're different.
And I still want to slap every little young dude out here. No, I'm kidding, man. I'm just
You
kidding.
don't want to slap them dudes, man.
I'm kidding. But like you said, man, you raise them right, man, everything will work itself out. So yeah, it's some good dudes out here, man, that's doing the right thing, man. And treat ladies with respect. So if you don't get anything from this podcast, always, oh, hey, chivalry is not dead. Open the doors, hold the doors.
Right.
Hey, tell a young woman, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. No, I'm not old. Well, it's just out of respect. It ain't got nothing to do with that. Man, that's so good, man. I think, man, we've done so much, man. We really appreciate it. Could I leave us with some words of wisdom before we get out of here?
Words of wisdom. I mean, we can go so many different directions, but there is no manual for fatherhood, right? So all you can do is do the best you can do. Like Mark said, be present. And present is so many different things. So if you know your kids, you know your spouse, you know whoever you love with, then that present is different for them. Like my daughter wanted some hugs. My daughter wanted hugs and to cook food. The middle one want to, play Call of Duty. The little one want to go hoop. So you learn your kids, you learn how to be a father, that so that presence look different. Like I suck. We play video games all the time when we were kids, but I suck at them joints now because I don't got time for that. But when my sons come for the summer, we playing Call of Duty all day. And even my daughter would jump in. So me and her suck. But we all together, we all get chased around by zombies in the dark, all day. It is something that they love to do. And we've been playing the same one because they know I suck. So we've been playing the same version of this game for like 6 years. But we all cool with it because this is our bonding time. We ain't gotta say nothing. We
That's
just
right.
playing the game, running around for hours and hours in the same couple rooms, shooting up zombies, and that's our thing. So once you build those type of things with your kids, then that's your presence. And then another thing is, again, like I said, I'm gonna always go back to the mental health space. You know, you gotta maintain that in a world that every time you walk out of the house, you don't know if you're gonna make it home, like because the world is against you, and we are definitely at the bottom of the totem pole. So how can we do that? Is just get into spaces with other positive brothers, stay positive, work hard, and just stay out the way. Like I'm real private in my public life. Like you know, everybody see this celebrity photographer, but it's only been 10 people that's been to my house in the last since I moved to Atlanta, and five of them are family. So yeah, I'm very, very reserved on that. And again, I had a daughter, so it's like I can't bring a whole bunch of dudes over here because you gotta worry about you got that type of issue, and I can't bring a whole bunch of women over here because I don't want my daughter seeing all a whole bunch of women coming in and out of this joint, or what I'm saying, can't bring a whole bunch of little girls over here because that's kind of weird. So it even in my unfortunate times, it still was kind of cool to be able to be in a position where I could do what I needed to do and not have to worry about certain things. So, your mental health is paramount. You know, it's gonna get worse for a little bit around this US of A. So we gotta knuckle down and prepare for that. We it, man. Black men are amazing, bro. Like don't let nobody tell you that we ain't, because if we weren't, then people wouldn't be trying so hard to keep us down.
You know what I heard, and this is my final word. I said I wasn't gonna say nothing, but this is a quote from Dr. Antoinne Duane Jones. I quote y'all: "If motherhood matters, fatherhood has to matter as well."
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
Powerful,
what I
man.
learned today. That right there spoke a whole volume to me.
Yep.
If motherhood matters, fatherhood has to matter as well.
Has to.
Dr. Duane Jones.
That's it, folks. Man, you had the original Ida Pappy on here live, right? So y'all, right? Y'all, if this resonated with you and made an impact in your life, y'all have your friends, families watch this podcast, because I think, man, so much here, man. Dr. Jones, we thank you. This has been amazing. Folks, like, subscribe, and share this with your folks. We talked about fatherhood. We talked about purpose. It's not just about being there as a father, but it's about purpose. When you're there doing something purposeful. So again, until next time, folks, we love you. Look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thank you.